What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right. I said that I wasn't going to make a video uh, criticizing Anthony Joshua until I heard him say something that I thought, was worth it. And at this point in time, it's there. Let me get the formalities out of the way before I do this. Thank you to everybody that supports the channel, either by watching the video, attending the live streams. Definitely thank you to the people that donate through Super Chat and Venmo, also Patreon. Thank you very much. We've definitely been able to hit. I don't publicize the stuff that we do, but just suffice it to say, that we talk boxing, but also the things outside of boxing that the channel is meant to support. You guys really do make a big difference, and it's very, very appreciated. Thank you very much, and I hope that you subscribe, share the videos that we do, and attend the live streams. The best way to know about the live streams is to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified. Now, let me cut to the chase. For a while, people have been calling Anthony Joshua a coward. And there are a lot of people that pushed back on that notion. And because you say, hey, this guy's fighting in a ring, he's getting punched, he risks his life, how can he be a coward? Well, there's different types. There's different things that people can be a coward in. There are people who are professional boxers who have, slapped women around, right? Or people who have, done other things. Because courage isn't just about what you do in a ring and whether you get punched or get knocked out or whether you're willing to beat somebody, throw punches or get hit. It can manifest itself in all areas of life. Business is one thing. Business is an area where you can display courage. And business is an area of life where you can display cowardice. And what I see from Anthony Joshua is in the making of this fight is cowardice. Anthony Joshua is a 28-year-old young man, and he has much more control over his circumstances than I think that he believes that he does. Because when I hear him speak, I consistently hear him parrot something that comes out of the mouth of Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn's mouth. And I'm going to use an example of somebody who has a lot of courage outside of the ring in boxing. And that's Floyd Mayweather Jr. As much as Floyd Mayweather Jr. gets a lot of heat for things that he does, for me, with flashing money, but he also gets a lot of love for the things that he does inside the ring. Floyd Mayweather Jr. showed a lot of courage when he went and left Top Rank. When he had enough with Bob Arum, and he said to Bob Arum, I got to go because I think I'm a bigger star than you think I am. And he ventured out on his own in partnership with a guy named Al Heyman, and formed Mayweather Promotions, partnered with Golden Boy Promotions, and sought out a $200 million contract with Showtime and left HBO. That took a lot of courage. Anthony Joshua is not showing very much courage. Oscar De La Hoya left Bob Arum and started Golden Boy Promotions. And anybody that's familiar with this channel will know that I am not big on complimenting Oscar De La Hoya for damn near anything. But he left Top Rank. He formed Golden Boy Promotions. And until he had his personal issues, he made significantly more money and was significantly more successful because he left his promoter and followed his own best mind. And he had actually done that before Floyd Mayweather Jr. did it. Another person who displayed great amount of courage outside the ring was Muhammad Ali, when he decided to change his name to Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, when he was named Cassius Clay, would have by many people was by many people considered a career suicide, went on a career suicide mission by changing his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali. And then to associate himself openly with Malcolm X. That was career suicide. Muhammad Ali was a young Olympic gold medalist from the United States of America, had very handsome, more marketable by 100 than Anthony Joshua is, or Mike Tyson was. And he displayed enough courage. To walk away from what was guaranteed to be a successful, marketable career to pursue his personal beliefs. And then he did it again when he was a heavyweight champion of the world, and he decided that he was not going to be drafted he was not going to go into the draft. That was an amazing amount of courage. There were other fighters, other people who were also courageous inside of their sports who would never have done that. Sugar Ray Robinson did not do that, and he was very courageous inside of the ring. He did not display that degree of courage outside the ring. Joe Louis was very courageous inside the ring. He did not display that level of courage outside the ring. Not in his contractual dealings, not in his public persona, not in any way, shape, or form did he ever show that type of courage outside the ring. But he showed it inside the ring, but not outside the ring. Jack Johnson showed a tremendous amount of courage inside the ring, and although I think it was on some foolishness outside the ring, he decided, and he was very out front about the fact that he was going to live his life the way that he wanted to live his life. And that's why Jack Johnson is remembered 100 years later. That's why Muhammad Ali is remembered more fondly than Joe Louis. That's why Floyd Mayweather Jr. is worth 10 times as much monetarily, because that's what his goal was, as Sugar Ray Leonard was. Because they all displayed courage outside the ring. Anthony Joshua, from what I can see, does not have very much courage outside the ring. This is the same dude that he can call up or send a text message to Eddie Chambers, loud talking a cruiserweight on some nonsense because he heard he says something halfway disrespectful of him. He can jump in the face via Twitter or whatever it was in Eddie Chambers' face, but he doesn't have enough nuts to accept a $50 million guarantee that he asked for? Because he's afraid of what? Because he's afraid of referees and judges taking something away from him and cheating in the United States. I don't care about what he said about what the fans deserve. That is some marketing bullshit that was handed to him by Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn, his bosses. His bosses. The people that somehow, like many other promoters, other abusive husbands have done, have convinced Anthony Joshua that if he doesn't follow their plan, he will fail and he will be miserably embarrassed and he will let down everybody that he knows. He'll let down his mother. He'll let down his father. He'll let down his friends. He'll let down all of these fans that have supported him through his first 20 fights and filled stadiums for him. He will disappoint all of the 90,000 people, all of the lines full of crap that used car salesmen like Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn use on people to manipulate them into doing what they want. And it takes a degree of courage to tell Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn no. There is a movie, actually, ironically enough, it's a movie that's based off of a British series of books. We've all heard of them. Some people have watched it. Some people have not watched it. I just so happen to have been and I admit to my nerdy side, a Harry Potter nerd. So I read all the 7 books. I loved it. Read it with my children. And in the first book, it's called Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. In the UK, it's called Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. But where I live, they were like, we want to make this stuff look like magic. We don't want to say philosophy. So the actual title of the book was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. But there's this character called Dumbledore, and I'll spare you all the details. But in a line of this, he awarded a kid named Neville Longbottom some extra points in school. And one of the lines he used was, "It takes a lot of courage to stand up to your enemies, but it takes a greater amount of courage to stand up to your friends." Say that again. It takes a lot of courage to stand up to your enemies, but it takes even more courage to stand up to your friends. And that is what Anthony Joshua needs to do, but is not doing. He is not standing up to his friends. He can have Deontay Wilder standing across the ring from him, knowing that Deontay Wilder wants to knock his head off. But hey, he also had dealt with that with Charles Martin. He dealt with that with Vladimir Klitschko. He dealt with that with Joseph Parker. He dealt with that in the amateurs, for whoever he won his gold medal against. He did that in the streets when he was fighting whoever, when he was 10 years old on the streets and fighting, when he's, Big Femi, right? Fighting on the street. He did all that. He's been in fights. He knows that type of courage. He knows that type of risk, and he knows how to face that type of risk, I believe. But can he go unemployed? Is he willing to take a risk that might lead to him not being financially successful? There is a certain amount of fear in getting beat up, but there's also a certain amount of fear in not making a living. And that's the type of fear that I am positive a manipulative, borderline, if not completely sociopathic liar and manipulator by the name of Eddie Hearn, who learned from probably another one named Barry Hearn, will pull on him. Look, son, let me tell you here. I can imagine this conversation. Look, son, let me tell you here. You can't beat him. Okay? As much as we hate this, to tell you this, we have to tell you. We've got matchmakers. I've been in boxing longer than you've been alive, son, and I love you. I love you. I love you with all my heart. I remember when I saw you fighting the first time as an amateur, and I thought, we can support this kid and we can bring this kid up and we can make him a world champion. But son, right now, you listened to us before and it got you where you are here. Don't make the mistake of not listening to me now. Because if you had not listened to me before, you wouldn't be where you are now. And I promise you, you cannot beat Anthony. You cannot beat Deontay Wilder. Yes, you will make $50 million guaranteed. Yes, we saw it in the bank account. However, you have to understand, son, that you can't win that fight. And since you can't win that fight, what you're really going to do is you're going to lose $100 million. Because if you listen to us and we take you in the right direction, that money will still be there in 2 years. It'll be there 3 years from now. Didn't you hear what Teddy Atlas said? Teddy Atlas is telling you, son, that you would be making the biggest move, that we would have to we should be taken to jail. We should be taken to jail if we would allow you to make this fight. Now, we don't really care because, matchroom boxing, we're here for our fighters. But you, son, we love you. We care for you. It's like you're my son, Anthony. I don't want you to listen to these thieves and these liars that tell you that for $50 million, that's a win. It's not. What it really is a loss. Because at this stage, you can't beat him. And then he'll take everything that you have. And that $1 billion that we know we can make, the billionaire that you could become, you'll never become because you didn't listen to me. You have everything to lose, Anthony. You have everything to lose. It takes courage to stand up to a bullshit fucking lie like I just told. But a cat that's 60 years old, 70 years old, has been in the game 30 years, knows how to do that to a little kid. And Barry Hearn looks at Anthony Joshua like he's a little kid. And it will take an immense amount of courage for Anthony Joshua to back up and live up to his word. Because he's the one that asked for $50 million guaranteed. And it was given to him. It takes courage to stand up to enemies like Deontay Wilder. It certainly does. As much as it takes Deontay courage to stand up to you. But Anthony Joshua has to display a second type of courage that he seems to be lacking, which is the courage to stand up to your friends. Eddie Hearn is a pathological liar, son. He's a pathological liar who needs you more than you need him. It's a fact. Same thing for Bob Arum and Don King when Ali was around. They needed him more than he needed them. But he might not have known that. Know your value, and your value at the end of the day is based on your word. If you say that you're going to call someone at a certain time, do you actually call them at that certain time? If you tell somebody that you will accept a deal and this is what you want, and they go out of their way to find it and do the work to offer it to you, will you be a man of your word and accept it? Or will you become a snake in the grass whose word cannot be trusted? Because later on, that will come to bite you. Hold on. Anthony Joshua was offered $50 million and he didn't take it. He's on tape saying it, but now he doesn't live up to his word. You can't trust that dude. Let me show you. Let me put it on tape. And that is what it is. So I'll still, as best as I can, not criticize Anthony Joshua for being a coward in the ring. But that dude has got to stand up and take care of the business that he set up. He asked for $50 million, and he said the contract would be signed tomorrow. And it's not tomorrow. It's several weeks ago. And now you want to make a fight in the UK that can't be made in the UK with the money that they offered you. But and you know that. He knows that. But he has to have enough courage to stand up to the Hearns and tell them, no, I want this fight. I don't care about the WBA. I don't care about you. I gave this man my word. I got on TV and I said, if you offer me $50 million, I will take it. And they gave it to him. You owe it to him to take it. And most importantly, you owe it to yourself to take it. And at the end of it, in order to do so, you have to show some courage and not be a coward. And I'm not talking about a coward inside the ring. I mean a coward when you're looking at that old man Barry Hearn, and Eddie Hearn, who are telling you to trust them and forget about your promise that you made. Show enough courage to stand up to your friends. And that's it. And I'm out.